Hi, Gary.
Hello.
So the first question is, you probably heard it like 1,000 times, and I know it's boring, it's like the same all over again, but we would like to bring this to Czech Republic, to people who just still don't understand what veganism is about, and how it is confused with health and environment, and how we should be nice to people when talking about it. So we want them to understand, and we want the message to go from you, because you can just explain it so well. So if you could like shortly introduce yourself, how you view yourself, for how long have you been vegan, why, what's veganism, what it means to you, but what it really actually is, and yeah, maybe what you hate about how, like, how it is represented, and for like wrong reasons when people say, oh, I'm vegan for the environment or for my health.
My name is Gary Yourofsky. I'm a vegan liberation activist. This month, July 2025, marks my 29th year of veganism. I became vegan for the animals and the animals alone. There is no other reason to become vegan, because veganism is about not exploiting animals, not viewing them as property, as commodities, not thinking that they were put on this planet to be sandwiches and shoes and research specimens and entertainment in the circus and the rodeo, not to be put on display at zoos either. And in order to achieve a higher level of ethicality and to make sure your ethics align with what you're always saying, because people always tell me, oh, I'm an animal lover. No, no. If you eat animals, you're an animal hater. If you view animals as commodities, you don't give a shit about animals. In order to be an animal lover, you would have to not take part in their exploitation. And that means, yes, not eating them and not wearing them and not going to circuses and rodeos as well. It's about love. I just heard love. So veganism is about love. It's about really viewing animals as your friends, as your equals. In fact, I view animals as more than equal. I would never embarrass the animal kingdom by comparing them to human beings. I think human beings are a scourge. We've lost our way, I don't know when, but a long time ago. And the fact that humans think that they could take advantage of somebody else, that's the real crime that's going on, that humans think animals were put here for us. Why in the world would sentient living beings who have the capability of cognizant thought, rational thought, who want to be free, who want to have their babies with them, who want to sit in the shade under a tree when it's sunny, who want to go outside in the sun if it's too cold, who want all the same things that most human beings want, especially life, liberty, and happiness, which is what we deny them. So I don't understand the mentality that humans even have, that they would think animals were put here for us. I also believe that all forms of human hatred, racism, sexism, and heterosexism, it stems from speciesism, which is the false belief that we think humans, again, that we think animals were put here for us, or that we think our species is superior and better than the animal species. I've said this before in some other interviews, but keep in mind, if human beings were taken off this earth, everything would get better. The animals would thrive, the air would be cleaner, the water would be cleaner, the forest wouldn't be cut down. Everything improves without humans. But if you took ants off the planet, the entire ecosystem would collapse. That's how special and important ants are to the world. If you took bees out of the equation, if bees disappeared, the entire ecosystem would collapse. That's how special and important bees are to the world. So I also don't understand why humans think they're so special. The definition would be unspecial. If you defined, if I were to redefine what a human being means, an unspecial parasite that has polluted the entire planet and destroys everything in its path. I don't say this with glee, because I am a human being, but like all vegans, I'm embarrassed to be a human being. And I don't want to be a two-legged devil, and none of us do. Nobody who practices true veganism wants to be a two-legged devil. And if people ever wonder why some vegans become so militant like I do? Because I'm tired of some animals looking at me that way, because sometimes all they see is two-legged devil. Get away from me, two-legged devil. What are you going to do to me now? And I'm trying to befriend them. I'm trying to be nice to them. I'd like to offer them some food, a carrot, whatever it is, a celery stick in my backyard. There's a groundhog that lives back there, and he runs away from me. And I don't blame him. I'm like, I don't blame you. You don't know. You just see two-legged devil. You're going to do something bad to me. So it's time for everybody to open up their hearts and their circle of compassion and allow the animals in and stop violating them.
Do you think, though, that it's necessary for people to love animals, to respect them? Because
it's not a requirement to love animals. In fact, early on in the 90s, I used to tell people not to call me an animal lover, because back then, when I did care more about human beings, which I don't care about anymore, there's an offensive term that if you stand up for a black person in America and you're white, they call you a nigger lover. It's offensive to me, obviously. That word is horrible, and I don't like saying the N-word because I'm not 2 years old. I don't understand why we can't say words even when they're horrible. So to me, saying that word, that phrase, was just like animal lover, or just like standing up for gay rights. I'm a gay lover. It's not about loving somebody else. It's about standing up against oppression. So the truth is, you don't have to love animals. You can think whatever horrible things you want to think about them. Actually, I don't care, and I don't think they do, as long as you're not violating them. Now, over the years, 29 years as a vegan, my love for them has grown, and I'm not embarrassed to say this. I really do love animals, all of them. Before we started this interview, there were some lady beetles crawling around, and I'm just so excited to see a lady beetle. Oh my God. Or if there were bees flying around, I'm like, oh my God, look at the bees. I'm fascinated by all the animals, everything that they do, how they operate, how they don't need technology to survive, how they live outside, no air conditioning, no heat, no cars, no cell phones, and they still function and survive, no grocery stores, and they're still doing it. Anyways, I really dig all the animals on this planet, though. I'm really fascinated by them, and I'm not embarrassed to say anymore that I am an animal lover. But I want everyone to keep in mind, stop telling a vegan that you're an animal lover if you're not vegan. All you're trying to tell me is you love dogs? Say you're a dog lover. You love cats? You're a cat lover. That's all you are. Or even if you dig penguins and squirrels, you notice the animals that people say they love are animals that they don't eat, they don't wear. It's easy to love animals that you're not taking advantage of. How about the animals that you are taking advantage of? Those are the ones that need your love. Those are the ones that need your concern. Extend your love to the entire animal kingdom. Or don't, but stop violating them. Either way, I don't care and they don't care. Just stop stealing their babies, stop cutting their heads off, stop ripping the skins off their body, and do something kind for a change instead of being so selfish and thinking about yourself. What I love about vegans and veganism is we're the only ones on this planet doing something for somebody else. True altruism and expecting nothing in return. I don't know the cows that I'm helping. You don't know the cows and the pigs and the chickens that you're helping, but we still help them. We know by living this way that the meat, dairy, and egg industries aren't going to mass produce more of them, so that the pain and suffering is going to go down. So for anybody thinking that, oh, well, is veganism going to do anything if I go vegan? Are you kidding me? Yes, it's supply and demand. If enough people stop eating animals, they're going to stop mass producing them. And keep that in mind too as I say mass producing. This is not God or creation creating 1 billion cows on the planet this year to be murdered and exploited. That's the meat industry. They create as many animals as they can sell. In the same way, General Motors, the car company, doesn't make 10 billion cars every year. They make as many cars as they can sell to the public. Same thing with the meat, dairy, and egg industry. And that's a travesty too, that we've turned them into objects and machines, and we learned how to mass produce them.
Yeah, yeah. You talked about humans and selfishness. With that being said, how do you view when vegans bring their issues into like vegan movement, when they make it about human rights?
I despise it, and I think the animal rights movement has been in an abusive relationship with the human rights movement for as long as I've been vegan, 29 years. This hasn't changed. Now, when I started, I gave to the human rights movement. Look at my old speeches. I mentioned racism and sexism and heterosexism. I used to give and say, yeah, okay, we'll include you guys, but I noticed human rights people never include us at their events. They're doing a gay pride event. They're not talking about cows on dairy farms being raped and having their babies stolen. They're not talking about baby pigs having their testicles ripped out because the pig industry wants to control reproduction. And I'm thinking over the years, why do we keep... They're doing it right, actually. The truth is, they're doing it right. They got a cause, gay rights, trans rights, women's rights, and guess what? They talk about gays, they talk about trans, and they talk about women, and that is it. But here we are at vegan protests, and people want to bring up issues that are going on around the world. Gay people in Uganda being imprisoned and killed, and I know about the atrocities going on. It doesn't belong in our movement, and this is the biggest atrocity going on anyways. These are the most abused and most oppressed beings on this planet, not human beings. In a few months on this planet, more animals will suffer and die than all human beings in the history of humankind. This is where we need to, put our focus and stop bringing other things into this movement. I'm tired of it. And all of this, too, boils down to people thinking humans are more special than animals. Worshipping at the altar of humanity, which I stopped doing a long time ago. Animals first, humans last. Because what their position is, humans first, animals last. And I'll tell you when it really hit me that I was done with it. The gay rights movement, at least in America and most parts of the world, has been really gaining traction a lot. Allowed to be married and just a lot less bias towards them. And I'm thinking, finally, after the gays get their equality, finally the animals, we're all going to focus on the animals. And then the trans movement came into play. It's always putting the animals on the back burner, literally. Now we'll get to them later. Well, I say, fuck you, get to them now. I'm tired of it. Because what's after the trans movement? Then the hermaphrodites? I mean, they're just going to find another group of humans that they want to put in front of cows, pigs, chickens, and turkeys. And I've had enough of it, and don't ask me to play along and play this game anymore. I'm not going to stay in this abusive relationship. And anyone else who disagrees with me, you are in an abusive relationship. Leave it. Stop it. Leave it alone. And if you want to do it on your time then. Don't do it at the Animal Rights March. Don't do it at the Cubes of Truth. Keep that shit out of here. Animals first, humans last. And keep in mind, all I'm doing is flipping it, because if you're accepting the human rights people and you're condemning me, you're accepting humans first, animals last. Why is it so radical for me to say, I'm just flipping it, animals first? Then we'll get to you guys. And to me, it'll be a lot easier, too, to get to the human rights after we teach people to be nice to chickens and pigs and cows and ants and lady beetles and bees. If you teach people growing up, you teach those kids growing up, these creatures deserve their right to be free. They deserve life, liberty, and happiness, just like we're all demanding. It'll be a lot easier to explain to humans as they grow up why other humans who look and act differently than they do, why they deserve their equality. I know this for a fact, too. Whatever they're doing, whatever society's doing is always backwards, it's always wrong. I'm coming up with a new idea, a new paradigm. They've been doing it this way for hundreds, if not thousands of years, trying to attain equality for humans. They don't have it, because the system sucks. The paradigm is faulty. Try it my way. You watch. They'll have success. And by the way, I'm always ahead of the game, too. Nobody wants to listen to me, but trust me, animals first, humans last, and then everybody will get their rights. It's never going to happen the other way, and it hasn't. I have proof, empirical evidence. You've been doing it this way, and there's no progress.
Well, you said nobody is listening to you. That's not really true. Like, you probably veganized most people in the whole world. You're OG. So can you tell us about the best speech that you will ever hear, which is published on YouTube? What's the story behind it? Did you know that it was recorded? And you shared with me that you didn't have it prepared, right? So that's kind of this best quality that you have, that you're just like speaking. You're a great speaker, you're a storyteller, and you don't even make mistakes, so.
That speech was recorded in 2010. I had been lecturing full-time since 2002. I did lectures before that, about 111 before 2002. I ended up doing 2,660 talks in total. So by that time, 8 years in, I was in my prime. I had different versions of things that I had written over the years, and I was so in my prime that depending on how the crowd was reacting, I could be giving the speech, and in my head, I would see pages that I had written. And it's going to sound crazy or weird to people, but this is what's going on in my head. You wouldn't know this. I'm giving this speech and looking, which section? I'll grab that one. Explain it this way. Do that part. Do this part. Wait, this crowd's being a little sarcastic. Use this sarcastic comment. Hey, you know what? They're being a little difficult. Use this one. It's a little harsher. And again, you wouldn't know what was in my mind. And even if let's say I wanted to say something really important, I was talking about the dairy industry. And for some reason, there's a lot of things to say, I forgot a really important part. 5 minutes later, I would be able to replay what I had already said as well. And I go, oh my God, I forgot to mention that. Now I would look ahead, like in 7 minutes, you're gonna probably say something about this. Put it after the third sentence in that second point that you're gonna make. And I drop it back in, and nobody would even know. There was a lot of freestyling too. So after the Slaughterhouse video, I really freestyled a lot. I would force myself. And as I bring this up, keep in mind why I'm so militant and angry or stressed out. I had to watch the Slaughterhouse video that I showed to students, a 5-minute graphic view of what goes on inside. I had to watch it too. I wasn't gonna walk out of the room and make them watch it. That would be unfair to them. So I had to sit there. I watched that damn thing 2,660 times. Well, it would rile me up though. I learned to channel my sadness, and I'd become sad after the speech or on the way back to the hotel. Might shed a tear. This might be bummed out, can't even listen to the radio. But at the moment, I had to stay strong for the animals. So I'm watching it, and instead of getting sad, I would get angry. And anger's good, by the way. For a lot of people have been asking me, is it okay to be angry? Fuck yes, it's okay to be angry. Anger drove me, and it drives people to do amazing things. So I'd sit there and I'm like, man, I'm gonna lay into them so harsh after this video. That Georgia Tech speech, that was a freestyle. What I said afterward, it was something to the effect of, and I would walk out after the Slaughterhouse video. The only pre-planned thing I probably had was, I'm gonna pause for about 10, 15 seconds. I'm gonna pace back and forth and not say anything. I'd see the crowd like, oh my God, what's he gonna do? I just walk back and look at them. Right now on American highways, there are no less than 5,000 concentration camp trucks. Trucks that we've constructed. Inside these trucks, there are innocent beings. And that whole segment was off the top of my head. I just lay into them. And they had to hear it that way. So I guess I want to say something else. The speech was set up in a certain way not to be sugarcoating the issue, not to coddle people, not to say what they wanted me to say. I was saying what they needed to hear. So anybody thinks there's a gimmick, there's a trick, which I keep hearing, oh, maybe we should do this, maybe we should focus on factory farming only. You'll notice I never even said the words factory farming in my speech. I never said those words ever, because I didn't want to have to go back to the table and say, well, let me explain to you why cage-free is wrong and free range is wrong and buying local. So if you're going to focus on factory farming, you're going to make the job twice as fucking difficult as it already is. Because to be honest with you, if I were a meat eater and you came and told me, don't eat factory farmed animals, I'd say, okay. And then if you came back to me next year and said, okay, I don't want you to eat cage-free either, I'd say, fuck you. I just did what you wanted me to do. What are you coming back to me for? How many times do you think you can go back and convince people to do something? Just tell them what you want right off the bat, and you'd be amazed. Don't tell me it doesn't work. When people tell me it doesn't work, I'm amazed. They tell me. I said, what? Who are you talking to? The guy that converted several 100,000, maybe millions of people worldwide by being harsh and radical? The one that convinced professors, not vegan professors, 90% of my professors were meat, dairy, and egg eaters. It was a relevant topic, and I convinced them. And you know what they told me? We have never met anybody in our lives so open and honest about how they feel and willing to talk about anything. And I always did. I never played the politician game. I was never a public relations person. You ask me a question, you get a straight answer. And it's my opinion. For people that say, oh, I don't like Gary said that. Well, what the fuck? It's my opinion. It's not yours. I can't give my opinion. People ask me about violence. I'll tell you, yeah, I think it's justified in certain situations, not always. But people want to, misconstrue. Oh, Gary thinks we should blow up a McDonald's. No, I never said that. That's absurd. Those are robots. I want to talk to them. I want to deprogram them. I'm talking about busting into a slaughterhouse, a place of torture, and my guns are drawn. Say, no, you put your weapons down. You're not slicing any more heads today. Drop your weapons or I'm shooting. That's retaliatory violence, and that is justified. So, but who has the balls to get in front of a classroom or a media outlet and say this? Well, I do. I'm not saying I'm the only one, but there's only a small handful in this movement who actually feel the way I feel, but then they still get afraid, well, maybe I shouldn't say that because we're going to get backlash. More backlash than we already have. What the fuck world are you living in? They already think we're crazy. You think we're going to be crazier? They just think we're crazy. So say what needs to be said, and it might sink into them. And every time an animal abuser, hears you say plant-based, which is a gimmick, or I'm an animal advocate, gimmick, they put you in the same category as the Animal Liberation Front. For crying out loud, our enemies think the Humane Society of the United States, which doesn't push veganism one bit, is the same as the ALF. Because all they see is, oh, you care about animals. So don't play games. Don't say words that don't mean anything, that don't push our position, our agenda. Say what needs to be said. I always said I'm a vegan animal liberationist in the speech. It worked. The truth works. The students even told me too, same thing. Man, I came here to laugh at you, but man, you really explained it, and I think I'm going vegan today. And I got to tell you, my conversion ratio was probably around 50% from what I saw. I'm not exaggerating. Professors told me minimum 15 to 20%, which is amazing considering the topic. Right? I was averaging 200 lectures a year. You want to talk about a tough social justice movement. In 60 minutes, I had to convince people to be nice to chickens, and I was doing it. But I did it a certain way. Follow my lead. I don't say this arrogantly. And that speech, by the way, you also asked me. So I also was not concerned with recording and documenting everything I was doing. Understand my age. I'm about to be 55 in August. I grew up without the internet, without cell phones. In fact, when I started in the 90s, there was no internet. So I no longer cared. As soon as 2000 hit, I broke away from the movement. I got tired of all the social gatherings and patting each other on the back and no one doing shit. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna go do what I can do. I'm gonna be a one-man wrecking crew. And the only thing that I was concerned about once I started full-time lecturing in 2002 were those students in the classroom. These 25 students right here, these 50 students, these 100 students. I don't care about anything else. I don't care who documents it. I am gonna reach these people because this is what I can do. So I really wasn't aware that other people were listening and paying attention. And in 2010, now mind you, 8 years in, I only got a couple recorded and nothing was being released. I was in my own world. 2010, I'll tell you the student, Nathan Black, Georgia Tech. I get an email about a week before that lecture and he says, Gary, I heard you last year in Professor Klein's class. You changed my life, I became vegan. Can I come and record you next week when you're back and I'll put it on YouTube for you? Understand my age again. I don't even understand the internet and social media. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Whatever, show up, I don't care. He shows up before the class. Hey, I'm like, hey Nathan, how you doing? He wants to mic me up. Like this? I said, no, we're not playing the microphone games and don't bring out any lights either. You want to record me, just stand over there and record me. I said, and you don't need a microphone for me. Once I start speaking, I'm like Pavarotti. You don't need a microphone. I'm loud enough. Trust me, I'm like Rob Halford, lead singer of Judas Priest. You don't need a microphone for me. That speech had no microphone, no lights. He just stood and recorded it. And I'm glad he did. God bless Nathan, because I wasn't going to record anything and put it out there. But understand, even when he put it out, I still didn't really think people were paying attention to what I was doing because unfortunately, all I ever heard was hatred from people. You're too radical, you're too this. And again, I just went into my own little world of stuff. And then when I had to retire at the end of 14, I was stressed out beyond belief. 18 years in the trenches, understand. It was so much, 2,600 lectures, 13 arrests, 77 days in a max security detention center. It built up and I had to back away. And then when I came back last month, here in Germany, in Frankfurt and Cologne, Nearly every single person is telling me they're a Gary vegan or a Gary vegan activist. And then online, I'm saying everybody, if you go to my Instagram account, Real Gary Yourofsky, the Real is actually me too, but I don't know how to access it because I don't remember the password, so we made Real Gary Yourofsky. I can't believe the comments. I'm vegan 13 years because you, 8 years because you, 10 years. You changed my whole family. So anybody that thinks, oh, he wasn't effective, no, Gary vegans stay vegan because Gary vegans got hit with a dose of ethicality. They got hit with the Holocaust analogies, with slavery analogies. I didn't pussyfoot around. I didn't sugarcoat this issue. They heard about what was going on, stealing babies. That they heard it all, and when you listen to my speech, you stay vegan. You are vegan forever. And you can go online and find proof of that. And I never did this for adoration, honestly. I hate to when I get labeled a narcissist. I don't do this for glory, which is why I disappeared for 10 years. If I did, why would I disappear? Why didn't I write a book? Why didn't I go on a little tour? I was in my own little world. I did what I could do, and that's all I could do. It's nice. I gotta admit, it's nice to be loved and not hated, especially when I received so much hatred, but I never did it for that. It's not about me. In fact, someone at the Cuba Truth in Cologne the other day was, I was trying to reach him, it was unreachable. He turns to me and says, but I respect you, man. I said, I don't want your respect. I'm not here to gather your respect. Not really respect. I want you to respect the animals. Don't respect me. Don't respect other vegans. Respect the animals. And that was also my mentality. It was never about me. It was always about the animals, which is why I gave so much. I did. I gave everything. And I don't want to be sappy. I'm not looking for sympathy, but I made some promises to some animals in the 90s. Literally, I told them I would tell everybody about their plight and I'd give my life for them. And even though I'm sitting here right now talking with you and doing other things, I died inside a long time ago. I kept that promise.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you... So since you're back on Instagram, you can now see that you veganized so many people.
It's crazy.
And there's a power in just standing behind what you believe in, right? As you said, just say how it is. And the truth is one of the best things that you can give to people. They may not understand at first when you tell them, but they may understand after they think about it, maybe. So just like you said, some of your students may hate you at first, but you didn't start making it about humans and trying to make them happy about what this is about. You just made it about the animals.
I gotta tell you, if I can interrupt, there were hundreds, if not thousands of students over the years. Now, understand, once I got into a school or a professor's class, I was there 95% of the time forever. As long as they were teaching, as long as the school was there, they wanted me back. So I really only solicited talks the first couple years, then it was the same stuff, same place. So some students heard me 3, 4, 5, 6 times, and they came up to me after a class and said, Gary, I heard you a couple years ago and I hated you. Then I heard you again last semester and I didn't hate you as much, and now today it made sense. And I'm becoming vegan, I'm changing, you're right. Sometimes people need to hear the message over and over. This is why advertisements are, you're always seeing the same ads on TV, no matter what it is. They're trying to beat it into you. Well, this is a message too. This is an advertisement that we're doing on behalf of the animals. So that totally works. Sometimes you needed to hear me several times, and then you understood the passion, the militancy, the anger, and why I was saying things the way it needed to be said. And as I bring this up, my speech was very entertaining. So I don't want to misrepresent it like it's this horrible militant thing and I'm screaming at you. I'm explaining a topic. The topic is injustice. The topic is a Holocaust. It's slavery. It's stealing somebody else's baby. It's mutilating them while they're fully conscious, cutting their beaks off for hens, ripping the testicles out of baby pigs, cutting the horns off of cows. This is packing them inside of a horrible truck to take them to a place, a house of slaughter, where we cut their heads off and chop them up into pieces. Of course, it's going to be graphic at times, but my speech is entertaining. I don't know if people know, but I patterned my style on 2 people that I adore. Malcolm X, militant, George Carlin, the comedian. He's a famous comedian, look him up. I really have more comedian blood flowing through my veins. I also love Mel Brooks and Larry David and Richard Pryor. So I have this, so the speech is a militant comedy roast. So I would push it to the limits with all the horrible things, and then I make jokes because there's truth and sarcasm. So I'd bring up that whole section where you guys have a bird ass fetish. How come you have to eat things that come out of a hen's ass, eggs, and then on Thanksgiving you got to shove things into a turkey's ass? What is it with you and bird ass? And they're laughing and getting it, but I'm making my point still. And it's okay to make people disgusted about what they eat. And you guys eat bee vomit that you euphemistically call honey. Where does it come from? They're in a hive. There's no grocery store. All of a sudden, there's honey. It's vomit. So they laugh, but be disgusted, but get the truth at the same time. So I'd use both angles. Like here's the harsh shit, and here's some funny shit, but it's truthful, and back and forth. So the speech, if you watch it with an open mind, you should understand everything at the end and be entertained too. So don't shy away because, oh, it's 70 minutes. I promise you'll be wanting more. You're like, no, more, give me more. And most of the time, students would keep me after class. If I didn't have another lecture, I'd stay there for hours. I remember my first lecture, I didn't even realize that this was the best path when I started. I got invited to Canton High School in Michigan, 800 students. And I also didn't have anything prepared that day. It was off the cuff, freestyle. And I expected to hear, fuck you, get a life when I was done, because that's all I ever heard on the street. And when I finished, I remember kind of putting my head down, like waiting for the fuck you, get a life comment. And all of a sudden I heard, and I look up, and it's a standing ovation. I'm not saying this to brag, I'm shocked. Education. They don't know. You didn't know? Teach them. 45 students that day kept me after class for 4.5 hours begging for more information. I had to end it because it was 8:30. I looked down and I'm like, it's 8:30. I have a dog at home. I have to get home and let him out. I can't stay anymore. But like people were thirsting for this knowledge. I realized it. Not only that, a couple weeks later, the teachers sent me a letter. I still have it in my basement somewhere in my animal rights box. And it said, Mr. Urofsky, we took a survey. Out of the 800 students, 100 decided to embrace veganism. Wow. That's one hell of a ratio for 60 minutes. 100 out of 800? So it made me think everything else that I was doing, even the civil disobedience, I just don't think it was valuable anymore. Direct action, I always think is valuable, but the consequences are pretty rough. If you get caught, you're going to be doing jail time. But all the politicking and the lobbying, even the media interviews, I thought, man, people watch the media for entertainment. I'm not sure what they're really getting from me talking about a serious topic, because as soon as I'm done, all of a sudden it's, hey, here's the score of the football game, and here's the score of the soccer game, and here's the score of the basketball game, and here's where the stock market is, and here's who got divorced today, and it's just this, and here's the weather, and it's just this entertainment stream, and they forgot already about the Holocaust that I talked about. So once I found the education avenue, that's when I went full into this and spent all my time from 2002 until the end. That's all I did. I didn't do a street protest. I didn't do it. I stopped doing media in America in 2006, 2007. I did some media in Israel when I was there in 2012-13. They begged me to. I really didn't want to. I'm glad I did, because I hear a lot of people change their life too from those famous Israeli interviews. But they kept telling me, oh, it's going to be different here. It's going to be different. I'm like, really? Okay. So I get on there, and what are they? But lions eat zebras, but what about protein? But God says it's okay. And so I guess the same. This is how I know people are robots too. I was in 31 states in America, and I went to Israel. How could I get the same questions no matter where I'm at? Or the same comments, I should say. They're not even questions. What about, what? Everyone's been brainwashed with the same shit. We were. I was too. I remember when I first found out, like, what am I going to eat? I don't want to just eat salads. Like every non-vegan thing, we just eat salads all the time. I lived off peanut butter and jelly for breakfast, lunch, and dinner my first 3 months when I went veg in '95. But I have to tell everybody, I would have eaten PB&J for the rest of my life, because I knew I didn't want to eat animals anymore, that they weren't here for me. But I get it after 3 months. I'm like, okay, is there something else to eat? Right, there's other things. And I went and investigated a meal of vegetables. Oh my God, asparagus, mushrooms, and broccoli. Hey, this tastes really good. Hey, I'm going to have a bunch of fruit for dinner. I'm going to have 10 bananas. And by the way, let me bring up this stuff with fruit really quickly. I don't want to focus too much on what people eat, but I always hated that people sometimes would contact me after I converted them and say, Gary, I had a banana for breakfast yesterday and just felt really weak all day. I said, you had a banana? One banana. It's 100 calories. Of course you fucking felt weak. Not even a mouse on a wheel could get by with one banana. I said, why do you guys eat 10 slices of pizza, 35 chicken wings, 3 hamburgers, 2 hot dogs, 4 chicken breasts, and all of a sudden you're like, I'll just take this 1 peach and I'll be satisfied. Eat 10 fucking bananas. Eat 20 peaches. Tell me that you're not going to be full. Stop thinking that fruit can only be eaten one at a time. Eat as much fruit as you want and you will be full and satisfied and sated.
Yeah. Well, right now you have banana smoothie, right?
Smoothie with 13 bananas, hemp protein. And yesterday's smoothie in the morning was also 13 bananas and hemp protein. And the evening smoothie was 18 nectarines. Yeah.
Yeah. So talking about your impact, Misha and Lukáš, they were veganized by your lecture as well. And they veganized me, and we became activists thanks to you. So it's an honor to be here and to interview you. And I cannot find words for you, for not only how great activist you are, but it's about, like, you're human and you bring that out. And maybe I would like to ask, like, what would you say to vegans who are not active? What is your drive? Like, how do you find the strength? And
I do it for them and for everybody that tells me, oh, I'm shy and I'm nervous and I don't feel right. Just because you see me out there in my prime, shining, don't think I wasn't nervous. Do you think I wanted to go into a room being hated? Because I was. I did it for them. Every time I got nervous too. Every time I felt like, oh, it's gonna be a tough crowd. I don't want to speak here at this animal agriculture class at Ohio State University, which I used to do for 6 years straight, 6 to 8 times a year. I'm like, I have to. If I don't say something, who's going to say something for them? I mean, there's a quote in our movement, if not you, then who? If not now, then when? I have to do it. We all have to do it for them. Get out of your comfort zone. I don't want to sugarcoat it, and I don't want to coddle you. Stop it. Speak up for them. And just because it might not be the most eloquent comment, I don't care. I don't care if you get mad and scream at somebody. Do something, let them know it's not okay. If all you said was, fuck you, go fuck yourself. I don't care. You said something and you at least ruin their day, because they've ruined the animals' days over and over again. Get out there, though, learn your issues, and hey, listen, if you got to come up with a script, I don't care. Come up with a script. Come up with a powerful quote. Find a famous quote. Come up with like 1 or 2 sentences to say. In fact, I'm going to help everybody out. You just want to cut to the chase. I keep mentioning baby stealing. Explain it this way. Go up to somebody and say, black woman, white woman, Asian woman, Hispanic woman. They're pregnant. They have a baby. Whose baby is it? They're going to say theirs, of course. Watch them say, of course. Theirs, of course. And then say, okay, cow, pig, chicken, turkey has a baby. Whose baby is it? Watch them. Oh, the meat eaters? The meat industry? This is the most obscene part to me. By the way, I keep bringing this up because the more I think about it, the slaughterhouse is kind of like the 4th or 5th or 6th thing that's horrible that happens to them. The baby stealing is the absolute worst. The mutilations, the confinement, all this other stuff is so much horrible. So focus on something. But listen, you want to focus on a slaughterhouse because it's easy too. I use this on a lot of people. How come if you take the cows and the pigs and the chickens and the turkeys out of a slaughterhouse and put humans in, all of a sudden it's a tragedy. Everyone's up in arms. But then you put the cows and the pigs and the chickens and the turkeys back in and now it's okay? So was the slaughterhouse the problem? Or who's getting killed in the slaughterhouse? Be simple, direct like that. You don't have to come up with essays and books. And if you're reading books, by the way, okay, read a couple. Stop reading fucking books too. It doesn't make the world a better place. Learn your issues. You don't need to read 50 fucking books. I used to have a friend I won't say where because she's probably going to still be pissed at me, but all she did was ever read books. And every time I visited her when I was passing through town, I'd say, when are you going to go do something? How many books? I said, do you know how many books I've read about animal rights? One. And I didn't even read it from front to back. I skimmed it. Once I understood it, what do I need? I just need information. You got a chapter in this book you want me to read? Okay, that's interesting. Well, everything else is just it's fodder. It's nonsense. So she got pissed at me. We haven't been friends since. I wanted to be friends because I called her out and said, stop reading books. How many fucking books are you going to read? For what? I don't get it. So, but there are a lot of people that sit there want to just read and read and read. Stop it. If you got the issue, go out and talk and preach. Stop reading. Start preaching. And it needs to be done. If you were in their position, you wouldn't want somebody to be passive when they could speak up on their behalf. I mean, listen, I speak for the animals like I would want to be spoken for if I were in their position. And that's all everybody has to do. Speak for them just like you would want to be spoken for. And if you're still passive, again, think about it. Would the victim, or if you were the victim, would you want me speaking for you? Or you, who's not doing anything? Like, I hope Gary comes by and says something, or I hope he comes by and opens up a cage tonight, and maybe I can, make a dash for freedom. You got to get out there. Veganism, listen, okay, I like that you're vegan, don't get me wrong. It's not enough, though. I love that you're living this way, but you got to do something else, add to it. And then you'll be a genuine vegan, a real vegan, gold star vegan.
Yeah, this is a great approach. You don't have to know everything at the beginning, but you just go out and you speak the truth. And in the end, it's not even some complicated topic, right? Like, veganism is about respect, and you can easily do that. The least we can do is to be vegan for them, because it's like not viewing them as resources. It's like kind of neutral position. So the best that you can do is be active for them.
And by the way, the more you speak about it, guess what? It'll become more natural. Don't think I was always shining when I started either. People look at my, at the end, well, that was 15 years into it. I knew everything by then, but I was always coming up with different ways to explain topics. The more I thought about it, I'm like, don't only put yourself in the victim's position, put yourself in the victimizer's position. So this is why I shined. I put myself in the meat eater's position. Oh, I remembered my old life of being a meat eater, and I said, well, what would I say if somebody said this? And then I go, yeah, I would say that horrible, evil shit. So you know what? I'm going to come up with an answer to that. I'd one-up them. I'd be ready for their answers, because as soon as I walked in the classroom, I knew what they were going to say. I'm like, yeah, go ahead, say that. I can't wait. Wait till you hear this. Right? And I just nail them right back, and they're like, oh my God, I didn't think there was an answer to that. And just so you know, there's always an answer to their shit. Because if there wasn't, then animals deserve to be abused and exploited and have their babies stolen. So don't ever think a meat, dairy, or egg eater has a valid opinion or a valid comment. Your job, as soon as they speak, figure out the lie, figure out the misinformation, figure out the disinformation. It's there. You just got to figure it out and know it. As soon as they start speaking about protein, you should know, hey, wait a second. Lentils and beans and barley and grains, yeah, you have your answer. Or God says it's okay. Oh, thou shalt not kill. I thought that was the most important commandment that everybody ignores. Or as George Carlin said, more people have been killed in the name of God than for any other reason. Don't let people use the God excuse. In America, at least, I don't know if you guys say it here in Germany, but there's an expression too. That's the oldest excuse in the book. I'm fascinated with words. I'm a public speaker. I started thinking, where does this phrase come from? What does it mean? Well, I looked it up. The oldest excuse in the book is the Bible, and the oldest excuse is God says it's okay. And we've used it on each other, on other human beings. White Christians used it to oppress black slaves in America for 400 years. Men have used it to dominate and oppress women forever. Don't let people pull the God excuse. And the reason why they do it, well, what better way to sleep soundly at night than say, oh, my God says it's okay to mistreat somebody else like this. So just know your arguments, study them, and the more you do it, you won't be so nervous, maybe. You won't be so, lost in how to answer it. But there's always an answer to what they have to say. especially, by the way, it's the latest one too. They keep throwing the crop deaths out there, as if we're the only ones responsible for that. So also explain to them if they pull up something like, well, what about crops and all the animals that die for all the grains and everything? Well, you eat grains, and the animals you eat grains. So we're both responsible, and I don't like it, but we're both responsible. So, oh Gary, you drive a car. Well, yeah, so do you, and I live in a house too, like you live in. So it's all equal. We're all causing the same amount of suffering, unnecessary suffering. But vegans take it a step further. We don't consume cows, pigs, chickens, and turkeys, so we're still better than you, still doing something more than you're doing, which is the point. Don't let them think that, oh, they're going to catch us. Anything they catch us doing, and by the way, there's a way to solve crop deaths. Eventually, we're going to have to do it anyways because of weather problems, and I'm not just talking about climate change issues and things like that. There are frost that goes on, there are droughts that go on. We're going to have indoor vertical crop growth one day, where they can control the temperature and control infestations. They won't have to be harming animals. There's a way to solve that, but the only way to solve a slaughterhouse is to burn that motherfucker down. There's no nice slaughterhouse. There's no nice way to steal somebody else's baby. There's no nice way to mutilate somebody else. So the whole animal industry does need to fall by the wayside and be destroyed, and then we can collectively get together and solve the other issues. And something else I talked about too, with all, it's hard enough being an animal on this planet because we're here, because we take everything. Do we have to maximize the suffering and the cruelty by eating them on top of it? By wearing their skins on top of all the horrible things that we just do because we're here, and oh, this is our land, this is this is our road. This used to be their land, and everyone that's fighting over land all over this world, from Israel to America, I'm so sick and tired. The land belongs to the animals. Spare me the fucking shit that it's their land or his land. It's the animals' land that we all stole from them. So we need to start living peacefully amongst them, and the best way to start is with a vegan life.
So how do you think that after these 10 years that you took a pause from all of this, how do you think the perception of veganism changed, and how do you see the activism situation? Do you think it's good enough, and how is it different from back then?
I got to tell you, and this is 29 years for me, I don't see much difference at all. I don't want to disappoint people. I'm not trying to be a downer. I don't think it's changed. Now, listen, there's more vegan options out there. Yeah, of course, I'm not going to deny that. In 1996, when I went vegan, there was one veggie burger on the market, Boca Burgers. And if you don't like Boca Burgers, you were shit out of luck. And now there's 40 different veggie burgers on the market, so you have different tastes and textures nowadays. But overall, people still don't get it. Billions and land animals are being killed still, trillions of marine animals, which I had a bad figure back in the day. We used to say 90 billion marine animals. Now I'm hearing that number is actually in the trillions. I want to talk about animals that are being really abused. The marine animals, they're so abused, we don't even count them individually. They're weighed. The land animals are like, I can tell you, hey, in America, 107.7 million pigs were killed last year. They keep track. The marine animals got it the worst, and they got it the worst too. Have you ever noticed that when people go out to kill animals in the water, we call it fishing? We just take their name and add an ing. It's funny, we don't go cowing and chickening and deering. That's how lowly we think of the marine animals. We go fishing, whaling, sealing. Outrageous. They got it the worst of all the critters on this planet. And by the way, don't forget to include them in your circle of compassion, because I'm sick of people telling me, yeah, Gary, I'm vegan, I just eat fish. Well, you're way off. I didn't know when did fish become plants? Stop it. They're sentient beings. Again, they experience life just like everybody else wants to, and they demand their life, liberty, and happiness too. And just to bring it back to something else, again, that's why I can't stand the human rights movement. Hypocrites demanding life, liberty, and happiness for themselves and refusing to give it to the animals. I'm not going to play this game anymore either, and give it and support people when they're being hypocrites. Not going to happen. Oh, I'm sorry, you asked. I was thinking about the question.
It's okay.
Activism too. So um, I'm, I go off on tangents sometimes. Be with me. um, well, the activists in Germany are fantastic. I'm not just saying that because I'm here. I am blown away with how the Cube of Truth operates. Anonymous for the Voiceless, you guys are just machines and warriors. You approach people, you start running down this little tight list, this protocol that you have. Do you respect animals? You put yourself in the victim's position. I'm going to hold you accountable. It's all this stuff, and I hear it's based on my speech, by the way, which is hysterical because I took my street protest to the classroom, and AV took my classroom protest to the streets. So the German activists are fabulous. The Israeli activists, when I went there in 12 and 13, became wonderful, although I hear lately that they've stopped being active. So they need to get active again. Enough of the nonsense. Come on, get back out in the streets. I heard some people in France last week, I was told, or a couple weeks ago, they went and chained themselves inside of a slaughterhouse. So there's some wonderful activism taking place. Of course, it's not enough, because not enough vegans are getting active. There are more vegans than there were in 1996 when I started. But I don't think there are more activists. And that's a major issue. So people need to speak up more, stand up. And again, I hear this too, that people are planning, trying to do gimmicks, and how can we trick people into this? You're not going to trick anybody into being vegan. You're going to teach them, enforce them, shame them, guilt them into it. I don't care what it is, but people don't fall for gimmicks, and if they do, they figure it out, which is why like the health angle. The people, 99% of people that used to be vegan, that aren't vegan, they were doing it for health reasons. Because there's no reason to stay vegan for your health. I'll even be the first one to tell you, if 6 days a week you ate a really clean diet of vegan food and fruits and vegetables, and on day 7 you had a slab of ribs, yeah, health-wise it's probably not going to affect you. So they're the cheaters too. When you hear, oh, vegans cheat, no. Genuine vegans don't cheat. I'd rather starve to death. It's the health-based vegans that cheat. It's the environmental vegans that cheat. So that is a complete misnomer. There ain't no ethical vegan cheating. I've never met one ethical vegan that said, hey, do you mind if we ask if there's butter in this muffin? Yeah, we're going to find out if there's butter in that muffin or we're not eating it. Of course we're going to double check. It's the health ones that go, I don't care if there's butter, there's eggs, or there's milk in this muffin that I'm going to eat. So do it for the right reasons, explain it for the right reasons, like Gary did, like all the Gary vegans out there. I broke it down to the point where you're going to stay vegan because you're going to do it for ethics. And that dumb question I used to get a lot, I'm sure we've all heard it. Gary, but if you were stranded on a desert island with a dog, wouldn't you eat the dog? So I would actually go sit down in the classroom, lean up against the wall like this. I said, this is what I would do. Hey, buddy, come here. We're fucked. Yeah, we're in trouble, man. Don't look at him as food. He's my friend. Together, I don't know what we're gonna do, not, No, I don't see him like that. I used to. You know, first 26 years of my life, I would look at an animal like they didn't count, they didn't matter. But now that somebody opened up my mind and my conscience is working clearly, I don't see animals as food. That's not what they are. I don't see them as anything else but another living being that just wants to survive and just wants to not be harmed just like me. And that's why I'd say, buddy, we are in trouble. We are stranded. I don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to die together. He's not going to die for me. We would die together if we starved to death.
So, with that being said, you were 26 when you went vegan, when you decided to respect animals, and so what led to that?
Well, so I embarrassingly, I have to tell you exactly what happened. I was as stubborn as they come. Now, I believe I've made up for it. I've made amends for my stubbornness. When I first went to the circus, it was 1993. That's when I went backstage. Most people have heard this story. My stepdad's a clown in the circus. He says, you want to see the elephants? I'm, oh, hell yeah. And I go backstage and my heart's broken. I see an elephant in chains. I know she's not happy. She's swaying back and forth neurotically. I knew something was wrong. Thought I was an animal lover. I went to a slaughterhouse About a month later, Thornapple Valley, Pig Slaughterhouse, Detroit. There were trucks full of pigs waiting to be called in. I looked face to face at these animals, tears rolling down my cheeks. Their eyes were screaming at me, "Why are you doing this to me?" And in my head, I never had an answer. I would say, I don't know. I was as stubborn as they come, didn't know what else to eat. I started talking about the elephant in the circus way more than what I saw at the slaughterhouse. And at the gym where I worked out back then, Powerhouse and Centerline, all the guys would start telling me after a few months, "Gary, I'm sick of hearing about the elephant in the circus. You're a hypocrite. You got dead cows and dead pigs in your refrigerator." Little did they know, they were right. They were planting seeds, and I never had a comeback. And then 1995, I get on a sports radio station. The Octopus helped me become vegetarian. The hometown hockey team, Detroit Red Wings, have a horrible tradition. They still do. They throw dead octopuses on the ice in the playoffs. Because the 8 legs, the 8 tentacles signify how many wins it would take to win the Stanley Cup championship. But it was originally done in the 50s. What's so obscene about this, dare I say, besides the fact that we're murdering octopuses and taking them out of the ocean so a bunch of idiots in Detroit can scream and cheer during a hockey game, it no longer takes 8 wins, it takes 16. It doesn't even mean what the guy that really did it in 1957 meant. So it was out of control in 95. They were throwing 50 to 100 dead octopuses every night. I found out who was supplying them, Superior Fish Company in Royal Oak, Michigan. And remember I said we don't count marine animals. All I know is 4,000 pounds of octopuses were murdered in 1995 playoffs. I got on a radio station. Greg Henson was the host, WDFN. He doesn't know who he created. I get on the air and I start screaming. I didn't know how to talk back then. So again, everybody that doesn't know, I didn't know either, but I said, "Hey, what? You guys are throwing dead octopuses on the ice. What's next? The San Jose Sharks going to throw dead sharks?" And every team with an animal mascot, I'm saying, "When are they going to throw this dead animal on the ice?" And he says, "Gary, hold on. What'd you have for dinner last night?" I knew what he meant. I'd been avoiding it now for 2 years. Now, I have a lot of good traits. Fearlessness, loyalty. The other one is I never lie, and I can prove it to you. Look at the things that I've said. I tell you what's on my mind, no matter how radical it is, from violence to human rights issues. Well, I lied at that moment, and I said a salad. All meat eaters think that we eat salad. But to his benefit, he says to me, "Okay, continue." Instant guilt because I'm not a liar. I'm like, "Oh my God, he believed me." So I'm on the air now for another 2 minutes. He lets me talk. That's a lot of time without being interrupted. I'm feeling so guilty that I lied and that he believed me. At the end of my 2 minutes, he says to me, "Is there anything else you'd like to say?" Oh my God, the guy believed me. I'm such a liar. How could I do that? To show you how old I am too, I'm holding the phone. It's not a cell phone, it's a receiver. It's a landline. And as I hang up, I said, "No, Greg, that's it." And as I'm looking at the receiver, that is the shortest lived lie ever. And I hung up and never ate another animal again. Now, I wasn't vegan though. Didn't know. That's 95. 96, I go to the March for Animals in Washington, D.C. I'm waiting for people to come into the lobby. A group of people from Texas, about 20 people. It said Texans for Animal Rights on their shirt. And I jump up and say, "Hey everybody, I'm Gary from Michigan, how you doing?" "Hey Gary, where can we get a good veggie burger?" I said, "The Hard Rock Cafe right down the street. I just had one, it's so good." "But Gary, that's not a vegan burger." "So? What do you think happens to mother cows when they can't give milk anymore?" Oh. Those are quotes. And I bring this up because it's okay not to know, but when somebody informs you, you're supposed to make a change. I was informed. I didn't fight. I didn't come up, "What about protein? What about God? Animals don't feel pain." I said, "Oh." Missed it. And by the way, as a human being, you're going to miss a lot of things in this world because we're stupid. we're uninformed. All you can do is, once you're informed, is make amends, make a change, make it up to them, which is what I did. I said, okay, I didn't know, I'm going to tell everybody too. What do you think happens to mother cows when they can't give milk anymore? Because they end up at the slaughterhouse. And yeah, that was July '96. It's July now. This is 29 years later. It's crazy. You know, I think back to my previous life, and I say previous because I don't know who that guy was. 26 years not caring about injustice, not hearing the cries of the animal kingdom. He's a weird person. He's a hypocrite. I think back, there are some memories I have. I see how much I love my dogs and how much I got excited when squirrels and bunny rabbits came in my backyard. And I was the kid too that when my friends growing up would shoot BB guns at squirrels, I'd scream at them and make them stop. And here I am, that old time, eating dead animals and not putting it together. But like I said, humans are dumb beings, and when you're informed, just accept it. There's no need to fight. Just say, I'm sorry. I didn't realize. I'll make a change. And guess what? Vegans will forgive you. I forgave every student that ever came up to me and said, I'm sorry, I'm wrong, I'm changing my life. Good, that's why I'm here. Thank you. Thank you so much. I did the same thing. Change your life. Do it for the animals.
How do you feel about animal sanctuaries? Because some people say that it's not really activism, or it's not really important.
I am outraged at everyone's view that animal sanctuaries aren't necessary. If we're going to convince people not to harm animals, we're going to need a place to put a lot of animals who are no longer being harmed. The whole thing is absurd to me. And I don't care, quite frankly, how much it costs to care for a cow for 20 years or a chicken for 10 to 12 years. For the horrible things we've been doing to billions and trillions of them for thousands of years, they deserve everything. This is the fault of vegans, though. Vegans are required to take care of the animals that we say we care for. And they're the only places where animals are allowed to be themselves, exhibit natural behaviors. They're given a name. They're no longer a number. They're not being branded anymore. I don't understand how people are thinking, oh, it's a waste of money. And listen, everything involved with the animal rights movement doesn't necessarily have to be around activism, dare I say. Okay, so they're just places where animals can live. Okay, it's part of the movement. And I'm not saying 100% of our time should be spent helping sanctuaries and building sanctuaries. There's a pie chart, and there's things that need to be done. I think education, now when I started, education was 2% of this pie chart. I advocated for it to be 75%, maybe more, 80%, something like that, but there still needs to be other, sanctuaries need to be part of that. Even the things I'm not crazy about anymore, okay, media needs to be a little part of it, civil disobedience, street, sign carrying protests. Okay, everything else needs to be in this whole wheel of things that needs to happen, and so do sanctuaries. Sanctuaries has to be a part of that. I don't understand this. It's called, I think they're calling it effective altruism. I don't find anything effective about it, and I don't find it to be altruistic. I find it to be mean. To say, well, I'm sorry, I can't give money to this place. That we can't keep a cow alive for 20 years. Go look the cow in the eye, you tell him, I can't pay for hay for 20 years for you. You kidding me? And by the way, go donate some time to a sanctuary too. They also need help. Yeah, you got to clean up around the place. You got to feed them and water them and play with them, pet them, go see them. It's such a nice place, but don't force them to be pet. Try to lure them, because that's the coolest thing about sanctuaries too. It's not about, it's not for us. So I've been going to Sasha Farms Animal Sanctuary in Michigan, sashafarm.org. I've been going there for 30 years, and you know what? It's my goal to try to get this pig to come over today. Hey, come on, buddy, come over, let me pet your belly. And then when I get him to come over and I rub his belly and he flips over on his back, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe he rolls over on his back for me. Or if I get the cow to come up and take an apple, or one of the chickens. I actually did a bunch of Sasha Farm videos around 10 years ago, punched my name into YouTube with Sasha Farm. There was one I did with an emu named Rosie and some chickens. Now, I had been trying to pick up a chicken for almost, at that time, 14, this is like 14, this is 18 years, never was able to pick up a chicken. He always ran from me, and once they ran, I'm not chasing them. Like, okay, I just thought you'd come over. In that video, I'm petting Rosie, and all of a sudden, a chicken walks by, and I go, and look, and for the first time on camera, like it was set up, it wasn't set, I was shocked. I'm like, oh my God, he let me pick him up, and I pet him. So cool to be close to these animals. And as vegans, I noticed that a lot of us never interact with the animals that we're always fighting for. You should go to a sanctuary and pet a chicken and go, oh my God, he's actually just like those dogs and cats that I really loved growing up. And if I just gave him a chance, like, oh my God, he just wants his belly pet. He just wants to be pet. He'd like some food. He'd like some treats. He'd like some love. It's really nice. I used to bring people to sanctuaries too. By the way, it's a good place to bring meat, dairy, and egg eaters. I would bring friends, and I'd say, go ahead, go pet that pig. Go look in his eye. That's your fucking bacon, asshole. And they'd start to cry. I'm like, what? I'm like, go ahead. I'm not being mean. You're being mean. That's who you want to eat? This guy that's just laying there in peace? Why can't they just be like that in peace? Why do we have to take something from them? But I took somebody there, and he heard the animals making the noises. You know, the roosters crowing, and you know, the pigs oinking, and the cows mooing, and he said, I thought that was just in cartoons. They really make those noises? I said, yeah. But this is how disconnected people are. And this is intentional. I always hated too when people would tell me something about cows, pigs, or chickens, especially when they'd say something like, oh, they're stupid animals. Over the years, I started saying, just curious, how many chickens do you know? And they'd go silent. Sorry, how many pig friends do you have? Like none. I said, oh, so you're making judgments on beings that you've never even met? You want to talk about bias? You want to talk about fucking being slanted? Being opinionated? Because I know these animals. I've known hundreds of them, and they're nothing like you describe. They're not stupid. They're completely aware. They're completely cognizant of everything. It's amazing to me, the arrogance of humans making judgments on beings that they've never even met. This is the basis of discrimination. I talked about speciesism being the root of it too. And people do that with humans too. That's why they're racist and sexist and heterosexist, but man, the animals got it the worst always. Support the sanctuaries, go to Sasha Farm, and listen, doesn't have to be Sasha Farm. I'm just trying to help them and save them. Help your local sanctuary. I don't care. Help a sanctuary and volunteer at a sanctuary.
So this is what you were doing for the animals for the past 10 years, right? This was like one type of activism that you did, but
Yes.
you just didn't see it. What else? How else, and like what different ways were you helping animals?
I did some other things. So, well, I saved butterflies, I saved caterpillars. I mentioned earlier, I'm really fascinated with the insect world. And I found out that 90% of caterpillars get eaten and never get a chance to become butterflies. So I would go outside and find them before the birds and the insects did. I'd put them in a safe enclosure, and I'm telling you this because everybody should do this. Put them in a safe enclosure and feed them. So for the swallowtails that I was helping, it'd be parsley, fennel, and dill. And you can buy those just about anywhere or grow them in your yard too. And you know when you buy a single rose and they put in that little water container, get those water containers from the flower store, and then you put the fennel and the dill in there, put it in a little flower pot, and let the caterpillars eat it. And sometimes you got to change it, just so you know, they eat voraciously. Sometimes you got to change it every day, so you always got to have a supply. Let them go from small little caterpillars to big ones, and then they climb up the top of the enclosure, and then they form a cocoon. And then after they hatch, set them free. You're just helping them get from point A to point B without any predation happening. After they hatch, by the way, they need about 1 to 7 hours to dry off and have their wings expand. So you just pay attention as soon as they hatch, and when they start fluttering around, open up the enclosure and take them out and set them free. So I did that. I helped some skunks in my neighborhood. Some maniac was catching skunks because he didn't like them, and he was drowning them in his backyard. I confronted him. I told him if I heard. That was not planned, by the way. Actually, in the grocery store yesterday, somebody came up and he's like, "Are you Gary Yourofsky? Can I get a picture?" So I helped some skunks, and so I told the guy if I ever found out that he did it again, I was going to do the same thing to him, and I meant it. And these are the things that people think I'm radical for. He's murdering skunks and I'm the radical one? And you do it again and I'm gonna fucking shove your head in that goddamn bucket of water and I'm gonna fucking drown you. Now, I couldn't convince him to stop catching skunks, and I think skunks are pretty cool. But he agreed. He goes, I tell you what, I'm catching them. I don't want them around, but if you relocate them, I'll stop killing them. So it was weird because we formed a little bond over the next several years where he'd call me up or come down to my house, knock on the door. Hey, Gary, I got 2 more skunks last night. I'm like, all right, I'll be down in 5 minutes. I was happy to give the skunks a new home. But understand when I said I retired, why I said it. And people don't know this. The word activist is sacred to me. In good conscience, I could not say that I was doing the same things I used to do because of what I did. 2,600 lectures. I went to jail. I was in the jailhouse. I was on the street corner, and I was in the classroom. I was now basically sitting on my ass on my couch throughout the day, smoking a joint, watching YouTube or SportsCenter. I didn't consider myself to be worthy enough to say I'm an activist, because a lot of people aren't active and still say, oh, I'm an animal rights activist. No, you're not. You're just vegan. I was just vegan for the last 10 years. Just a regular old vegan. Did some things on the side, but it wasn't enough for me to say I was still active. And I didn't want to mislead people. Oh, what's Gary up to? No, not Gary's just, it's minor stuff, just minor. So, but something called me back out, and that's why I'm here in Germany. The funny story is I had converted somebody in Frankfurt near Rosenfeld. Great activist, great friend. Thank you. Hey, Nir, what's up, man? He opened up 7 vegan restaurants in Frankfurt. And over the years, I had heard that he really wanted me to visit or something. So I called him up. I said, don't get excited. Everybody gets too excited when I say I'm going to go. I'm thinking of coming to Frankfurt. Oh my God, come. Listen, I haven't left my house in 10 years. It's a long shot, but I'm thinking of it. If I come down there, can I stay at your place? He said, of course. So then Paul Bashir called me. Paul's an old friend of mine. I hadn't talked in years because I hadn't talked to anybody pretty much for 10 years. So we start shooting the shit, and I say to Paul, so what are you up to? He said, oh, I'm this and that, and I'm going to be in Cologne in July. I said, what? Of all the gin joints in all the world, well, you're going to be in Cologne because I'm thinking of going to Frankfurt. And I look up at the heavens, I'm like, stop, stop. He could be anywhere on this planet. Why would he be in the city next to the city that I'm going to visit? I'm thinking. So I decided to listen to the universe, and I said, okay. I said, Paul, tell everyone I'm coming down to Cologne. And I called Nir, I'm coming to Frankfurt, and I'm going to do a fundraiser for Sasha Farm there. So this is why I'm here. I'm listening, I'm following. I don't know what's next. I honestly don't. When I'm done in Amsterdam after this, I don't know. Part of me, a lot of me doesn't want to go back to Michigan and back to America. I'm on a journey, and I don't know where this is taking me, but I'm paying attention. Who knows? And I'm telling stories. So part of me, I'm really enjoying all these podcasts because I hope to influence some more people too, or just entertain. I am an entertainer. I'm kind of positive most people keep me around for the entertainment factor. You won't believe what happened to Gary yesterday. You won't believe this shit. There's always something crazy happening to me. Even when I did all my radical shit, there was always something comical with everything that I was doing that I can't wait to tell people that I went up on this roof to spray paint Meet His Murder, and the ladder disappeared. It was taken away from somebody, and I was stuck on the roof. It's like, what the fuck? Why would this happen to me? So I got crazy stories that I would like to share with everybody and entertain them, and maybe encourage people just to get active or guide them. I have a lot of empirical evidence about what works. I would ask people to follow my lead. Don't sit in a boardroom and have meetings and discussions on the meetings and debate the meetings and the discussions, and let's have another meeting about the discussion we just had. Stop with the fucking meetings and the discussions and do something. Do you also know that my activism was so effective? Because I didn't have meetings, I refused to, I went and did shit, and after I did it, I analyzed it. Was that good? Should I have said that? Maybe I should say this. Maybe I should do this. Instead of playing, I'm going to plan and plan and plan and plan and plan and never do anything, do it. Then analyze it, how it could be improved, or should you change it.
Okay, so you also talked about how people view you as radical. So that's one term. We have like a couple of terms that people use because they don't want to be truly vegan and respect animals. So it's like reducing, being vegetarian, welfare, What would you say to this?
First of all, animal welfare has nothing to do with animal liberation or animal rights. It's a horrible term. Welfare leads to more injustice. Welfare makes animal liberation more complicated, and it's back to the factory farming shit. Or trying to ban gestation crates or take out one tool of the horrible puzzle that we've built. Again, if I were an animal abuser and a bunch of animal rights people came to me and said, get rid of gestation crates for the female pigs, I said, that's all you want? We get rid of gestation crates. You guys will back off? I'd say, sure, deal. And then when you came back next year and said, hey, can you stop stealing babies from their moms? I'd say, fuck you. I just did what you wanted. Get the hell out of here. It's a horrible, horrible plan. Don't people see this? You can't. If you don't ask for what you want, you're never going to get it. You have to demand liberation. In America, 1966, they came up with the Animal Welfare Act. I used to bring a copy to the classes when it was brought up in Q&A. They'd say, but aren't there laws? I said, yeah, let me read you what the law says. Animals in the meat, dairy, and egg industry are not considered animals. You think I'm making it up? I'll put it up on the screen. So what the fuck was the point of the Animal Welfare Act if the majority of all animals aren't considered animals? That's what it said. Guess what? Guess which animals were considered animals? Dogs and cats. Oh, surprise. The animals that we really like, who, by the way, still get horribly abused. We still murder 4 million unloved, unwanted dogs and cats in shelters, which is a euphemistic term for a dog and cat slaughterhouse. But my point is, the ones that needed protection the most were excluded. You're never going to achieve liberation, and you're never going to trick somebody into being kind to animals by asking them to perform welfare. Of course, I have to be honest, and a lot of people won't bring this up, of course reduction is a benefit, but it's still not demanding what needs to be done. Yes, if we ate half of the amount of animals, I'm not going to say, oh my God, yeah, of course it's great for, if we're killing 60 billion, 30 billion are now not being killed, it's fabulous. Not enough, won't be satisfied, it's not good enough. Quick example, just on a personal level, when I was in Israel making all those converts, they say I converted 5 to 10% of the population. I'm there in 2012. I converted the fanciest restaurant, the owner of the fanciest restaurant there. She went vegan, changed the restaurant to vegan. They had an event for me where 300 people made a donation to the Freedom Farm Sanctuary. And they brought me there. I walked around. I said hi to everybody. I sit down with Erica at the time, and I said to her, you telling me I turned everybody here vegan? She goes, Gary, of course, they're all Gary vegans. I said, everybody? She goes, you know what you did. I said, hang on a second. How come I don't feel anything? I'm not satisfied. Not good enough. It was wonderful. And it's wonderful that I converted 5 to 10%, but that means 90 to 95% did not get converted. So it's not enough. So welfare is not enough. You have to ask for what you want, and you have to demand it. Demand everything. And listen, I'm thrilled with what I did there, but it's not enough. Don't be satisfied either till every cage is empty. Till every animal can be free, till there are no dead animals in people's refrigerators and in their stomachs. By the way, to the non-vegans, stop being a walking graveyard of dead and murdered animals. It's obscene. There's another part to the question. I'm sorry for
It's okay, I did answer it
sleepy.
at some point. So, to those who say that going vegan is extreme, what would you say to that? And like, is there such a thing as kinder animal exploitation, or
no, there's no such thing as kinder animal exploitation. And the only extreme people walking around are people thinking that animals belong to them, are the meat, dairy, and egg eaters. They're the most obscene, irrational, illogical, vicious, and vile people that have ever existed on this planet. How dare they point towards beings like us, vegans, who are doing something to eliminate the cruelty from our lives, and they mock us. But that's a classic tactic, right? They make the ethical people seem like they're weird and they're outlandish and they're crazy, while the crazy people and the weird ones want to label themselves as being normal. It is abnormal to be consuming flesh and blood and veins and muscles and tendons and things that come out of a hen's ass and things that ooze out of a cow's udder. That's the obscene things that are going on this planet. There's nothing extreme about veganism. It is extreme not to be vegan. It's extreme not to kill. It's extreme to think that 3,000 land animals should die for you throughout your lifetime, and 6,000, 10,000, who knows, 15,000 marine animals should die for you during your lifetime. It's obscene that you think you can wear somebody else's skin on your shoes or on your, you know, in a jacket. It's obscene to think that mice and monkeys and dogs and cats should be lit on fire or tormented in animal research experiments. That's the obscene thing. Walk inside of a vivisection laboratory if you want to see obscene and extreme. You want to see extreme, go to a rodeo as these idiots are sitting on top of a bull when they tie a flank strap around their backside, so it's so painful that they're kicking up, which is why bulls in the rodeo are kicking and horses are kicking to get the damn strap off of them and get the damn stupid human being off of them. Everything that animal abusers do is extreme and vile, and they want to say that we're the extreme ones because we don't want to eat dead animals anymore? Because we want to eat lentils and barley and fruit? Are you crazy? They must be out of their fucking minds, and they are.
Yeah, definitely. And it only like shows that they see themselves as the victim, right? Which leads me to another question. When they say, what would you say to someone who says that being vegan is too hard for them and that we should present it more positively when we talk about that?
They're just excuses, and it's not. So people like that are people that would never change. I always hated when people would say that. The more I thought about it, I hear people would challenge me on whatever issues. And I would say, if I answered this the way you wanted, would you change? And I'd usually break them down where they'd say no. I'm like, then why the fuck are you answering this? Why are you asking this question? Why are you saying this? Just to make it difficult for me, make my life more difficult than it already is? I'm sorry, I forgot the question. I'm getting tired.
No, you answered it. You answered it, yes.
So this is my wear down stage when I'm too old. We've been going too long.
Not. Okay, so do you believe in a world where animals are no longer exploited and they are free from that?
Come see me after 29 years of veganism, and you might be where I'm at. No, I don't see it. I had faith a long time ago. It left a long time ago. Humans are too selfish and stupid. We are the smartest, dumbest beings that have ever existed. Let me phrase it that way. The smartest, dumbest. Technologically, brilliant. I don't get it. I don't get how a cell phone works. I don't get how these cameras work. I don't understand. Wow, it's amazing. Dumbest. We can't even understand why cruelty is evil. Why taking advantage of somebody else is evil. Especially somebody weaker. I'll even say that too. Or I'd say the animals are weaker, and they are in many cases. Why would you take advantage of somebody that's weaker? Vegans want to protect. I look at somebody, I look at that ladybug I was holding in my hand. I want to protect her. Look at this little fragile being. We all have the same power, vegans and non-vegans. How come we want to rule with a loving hand instead of an iron fist? Yeah, I want to be a dictator, a compassionate dictator. Everybody else wants to be a vile and vicious and evil dictator. I don't understand our species anymore. Now, I don't want to discourage the new people, and I've talked to a few. No, we can do this. Okay, prove me wrong. I hope so. I hope in 20 years people say, Gary, you did some great shit, but you know you were dead wrong about this changing. Good. I would happily say to everybody I was dead wrong. And people, this is why smartest, dumbest beings, we're just fucking evil. We actually are entertained by animals being tortured. It's just, it's so obscene on so many different levels. But an ethical awakening amongst humans, no. That's almost impossible. And I wish there was a real pandemic. When that whole COVID shit hit a few years ago, I was like, oh my God. 5, 6 billion people, please clear this planet from us. A couple million? Ain't no fucking pandemic. Goddamn bad case of the flu. There needs to be something like that. And maybe the Earth, George Carlin used to say that when the Earth has had enough of us, she's gonna shake us off like a bad case of fleas. I hope so. I pray soon. I can't wait for that to happen. But this planet would be a lot more peaceful if we weren't on it. Again, we're the only species that doesn't fit into the equation. The only one. And I used to tell people there are 5 creatures that I can't figure out why we're here. There's flies, mosquitoes, fleas, ticks, and humans. This is the truth that I would speak. That, oh my God, what do you mean? That's an accurate list. Except I found out that flies and mosquitoes are pollinators. Like, you got to be kidding me. Look at them, huh? Well, even they have a reason. So I still can't find the fleas and the ticks, although in America at least, there's been stories going on that there is a certain tick that is biting humans and it makes them allergic to meat. And they think 450,000 Americans are now allergic to meat because of this tick. I can't remember the name of the tick, so I'm thinking, well, maybe that's the Earth going, hey, you know what? Bite these 2-legged creatures and make them fucking not kill my animals anymore. So it might just be fleas and human beings right now that I can't figure out why we're here. All we do is attack and harm and kill.
Okay, and so forgive me for this last question, but like to end on a little bit hopeful note, even if you don't believe that the world will be completely vegan eventually, you're still here and you're still fighting, right? So it's still the right thing to do, even though we would think that it will not end well. It's still the right thing to do, and we have to fight for them, right?
The fight has to continue. That's why I'm here, even though the faith is gone. The love is gone. My life is gone. They're still suffering, so I'm still going to do whatever I can do and change whoever I can change. And that's all you can do. I wish I had a better solution, a better answer. People look at me like I'm Superman. I'm not. I just am one determined person that wanted to go out and make a difference. I've had haters since I started. Somebody once sent me an email, how much they hated me, and they said, the only thing that makes you different from everybody else is that you're more determined than everyone else. I said, is that an insult? Okay. Yeah, I am more determined. I don't get it. Like, determination is not solely for me. Anybody can be determined. So if that's what it takes, then you want to imitate me, be determined. Be unwilling to stop. Be unwilling to compromise. Also something that I refuse to do. Don't compromise your beliefs. Again, don't say plant-based. Don't say animal advocate. Don't fight for welfare. Don't try to get rid of factory farms. Try to get rid of animal exploitation by any means necessary. Talk to people like I did, okay. Break into a mink farm like I did in 1997 if you want to face consequences that could put you in jail. Do something. Don't do nothing. Doing nothing never made the world a better place. Margaret Mead once said, never doubt that a small group of determined individuals can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Vegans are a small group. And we can do this if we're focused enough. Maybe, maybe not. But we have to try. So keep on trying, and again, I hope everybody proves me wrong and that my prediction of the future is wrong.